everybody doing? Hope everyone's having a great start to their Friday, and hope everyone's had a great week up to this point. Thank you so much for joining in today. This is Workout Wednesday Live for week 37, which is crazy because that means there's like very few days left in the year. So it's crazy that we've gotten to this point, but here we are. So yeah, let's take a look at what we are going to be doing this week. What do you say? How are we feeling? Feeling circle today? I think circle today. All right. So, what medals did each country win each day? So we're going back to the workout to the medals. To the Olympics, and so we're going to do a table. We're going to do a medal table. We're going to do a unit chart. So we've got, so for each country on each day of the Olympics, we're going to do the total medal count unit chart, but then we're going to use a chart. We're going to use custom symbols for the medal type and the event type, it looks like. So you can see here, well, let's just scroll down here. Here we go. So this is the live version. This is the Tableau public version, right? So you can see here we've got, so this is a shape. So we've got a circle, but we've also got a shape. And we've got, you can see they won a day one diving bronze medal. And hover on a mark for more details. Nothing else happens there. But you can choose your country. So that's pretty cool. So this will be a good challenge. So let's go get the data. And they're right here. There we go. And let's download this. And let's download this entire folder, because what I think is going to happen is we're going to put this folder into our Tableau repository within our shapes folder. That way we can use them in our stuff. In our as a custom shape mark type. So let's go over here. And so we're going to unzip this Olympic sports. That gives us this. We're going to go to our Tableau repository, go to our shapes folder. Here are all of my custom shapes. So if you want to add custom shapes, you just add a folder within your Tableau repository under the shapes parent folder, and then you can just add additional you can just add that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this Olympic sports folder and just make sure that everything in here is just the shapes, and it is, so that's good. So we're going to go drop it. Whoop, what's going on here? My mouse is going crazy. There we go. So I moved it in there, and now you can see we've got Olympic sports as in here in our shapes folder. So that should be good. So we should be able to use that in our workbook now. So let's go connect to the data source. I think it was a Microsoft Excel file, maybe. Yep. Daily medal winners. So we have the ID, which is just probably a running count. We have the ID, we have the day, we have the event detail, we have the medal, we have the country, we have the athlete, and we have the notes. Oh, team, right? So, okay, got it. That makes sense. Yeah. Awesome. All right, here we go. So let's go to, well, first we got to create an extract because we're going to publish this, right? We're going to publish it, so it's got to be an extract. So we'll do that. We'll go to sheet 1. It'll ask us where to save. There's good. All right. What are we going to do now? We're going to do, first we need to do I think we can just do this with a filter. So we'll just go country filter and we'll do USA because why not? Day is going to go up on columns and we'll turn this into discrete so that we get headers. All right, so that's one of the when I'm teaching Tableau to very new folks in introductory Tableau training. The way that I like to describe the differences between continuous and discrete is discrete pills will give you a header, and continuous will give you an axis, right? So if you're ever curious, which one am I dealing with? Are you dealing with an axis or are you dealing with headers? So we want this to be discrete. That's going to give us that. Let's go entire view. Now what we want to do is we want to do the daily count of medals by day, right? Now, so you can see here we had 5 total medals, but what we actually need to do is we need to have the, I think, let's try putting this. So yeah, so there's our unit chart, right? So we have, so this ID is basically just a numeric name. It's just a numeric indexing of our, so each one, right? So that's how you're able to do the, that's how you're able to get the unit chart. So this is a very basic out-of-the-box unit chart. Like this is a unit chart, what you're looking at right now. What we're doing is we're just separating out the individual, we're just separating out each individual one and stacking them on top of each other. So we had a bar chart, right? This is a bar chart. As soon as we added here, we had a stacked bar chart. Just like that. Right? So that's a stacked bar chart, and since all of the stacks are equal height, we call it a unit chart. But we don't want it to be a bar, we want it to be a circle. Now, what happened? Why did this happen here? What we actually need to do is, so that's my little trick for today. So did you see what I did there? So when we flip this to a circle, so if we look at this again, if we think about what a if we think about the mark types in Tableau and what they're telling us, a bar chart is essentially a polygon that takes the total count or takes the aggregation and goes to the top, and then it does or it starts at 0 and it just fills the polygon up to the aggregation level. But that's all a bar chart is now in the background, right? Now when I select circle, I'm no longer doing a polygon. I'm doing an individual shape. And so that's what we have here, right? And what we need to do, so you can see here we have where did it go? All right. So I went up here to the analysis menu, stack marks. So we want to stack the marks, or do we want to stack them? And what happened here? Here we go. Oh, because that's what happened. I removed ID, right? So So here you can see here I just have a dot, right? I could just do a line chart and that would just be you can start to see the connection here, right? But if I add in the ID, which has now I'm changing the level of detail, right? So now I'm going to add ID here, and that's how I get my stacked area chart, or stacked unit chart. Sorry. So just remember analysis stack marks on, and that will stack all the marks on top of each other as opposed to putting them all in one, right? So now that we have that, the other thing we need to do is we need to reverse the axis, right? Because we have multiple, because if we look at this, they're going down, right? And since we're doing it, let's change this to USA so that we make sure that we're looking at the same thing. There we go, 5, all right. And what else? Let's do a calculation for, well, let's do one thing at a time. Let's flip the axis. So we're going to edit the axis, reverse, like that. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the metal and we're going to drop it on color. We're going to change the colors to Olympics. So gold is yellow, or bronze, sorry, bronze is this brown color, gold is the yellow color, and bronze is brown. There we go. And silver is gray, right? Click apply. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to sort my metals. How does she have it? Bronze, silver, gold. Okay, so let's sort the metal field. Manual. Like that. Yes. Now we'll drop the opacity. And then we'll add a kind of a dark border here, right? And then we'll do like 45%. There we go, something like that. All right, so there's that, and now we'll go here. And what we're going to do now, so I've just duplicated my count, my aggregation. I've just duplicated it on rows. So I'm going to create a dual axis. And the way that we're going to do this, we're going to change our mark type to a shape. And now what we're going to do is we're going to drag event to shape. Add all members? Yes, we'll add all members. But as you can see here, there's way too many shapes, there's way too many events for the number of shapes. So we're going to customize, we're going to select the shape palette. So what I like to do, and then for some reason like this lags. I don't know if there's some sort of, I don't know if this is some sort of a bug in Tableau, but my, when I select this, it takes a long time to, now that may just be the number of, because as you saw, I have a lot of custom shape palettes in my repository, so maybe it just takes a while to load all of those in. But anyway, this is the waiting game. Something about there we go. I'm reminded of that Tom Petty song. The waiting is the hardest part. Okay, so I'm gonna go here and we're gonna look for Olympic events, and I don't see it. So let's reload shapes. There it is, Olympic sports. I think the reason I had to do reload shapes is because I already had this instance of Tableau open before I added the shape folder to the palette, so or to my repository. So when I clicked on reload shapes or whatever, it actually like went and it actually looked into my Tableau repository and looked for them. So anyway, Olympic sports. And wonderfully, these are in alphabetical order, as well as the sorting. So that's another tip or trick about your custom shape palette, is if you know that you're going to be putting something on shape, go ahead and do some sort of formatting either in your data or on your shape files, and put them both in the same alphabetical order, and that way Tableau will automatically add all those. So all you have to do is assign palette, and it will add the correct well, maybe it won't, because we have cancel. Let's do it from here. So let's do it from, so the reason you don't see it, so the reason it got all messed up is because we had more shapes than we do events, because the United States didn't win medals in all of the events, right? That makes sense. All of the countries aren't going to medal in all of the events. Therefore, if I'm filtering this to a particular country, and I try to assign event names to the palette, I'm going to end up with things off. But the way that we get around that is you can set your default properties of a dimension prior to any filtering. So let's go to, in the data window, let's right click on event, go down to default properties, click on shape. And now when we do this, we have all of the events, and we have all of the shapes, right? Now when I assign, you'll see that badminton is the little shuttlecock, golf is the golf club, and so you can see that it all mixes there, which is great. So let's click apply, and let's watch what happens to these shapes down here. And they've all done that, which is great. So we've got to do a little bit of cleaning up here. One, I don't need the metal on there. The other thing is I want to bring the opacity back up so that we see it. There we go. The other thing that I want to do is I'm going to make the size of these a little bit smaller, so that, whoa, not that small, so that they fit inside nicely of the metal count. So what we'll do is we'll do now a dual axis, and we will synchronize, and boom, just like that. Now we can do a little bit of formatting here. We get rid of the axis, or get rid of the axes. We will okay. Oh, the other thing we need to do, I think. So you can see here the other thing on hers is she has the header up top and nothing on the bottom, right? But oh, look at that! If you hover on it, you do see a blank bot. You do see a kind of a spacer dummy bottom header. So how do we get that, right? Well, it's pretty simple. We just double click inside of our columns and just add empty text, but then we flip it. Oh no, that's it. No. Is it that? Oh yeah, I guess that works. And now what we can do is we can just format this and remove column dividers and row dividers and zero lines and grid lines. So just remove everything. There we go. And now we can format this a little bit. Let's bump this up to like an 11, make it darker, make it bold. There we go. That looks good. All right. Now what we need to do is we need to have the totals on here, right? So we have total here and we have totals here, right? So what we need to do is we need to, there's several different ways to do this. what I'm going to do is I'm going to write it this way. If index equals size, then size end. So what are we going to do here? Well, we're just, because this is a unit chart, everything is 1. So we're going to count the number of rows. We're going to count the number of rows in a partition. So let's, if you think back to what Tableau is, right? It's bringing you back a table, and then it's going to do some fancy stuff, but behind it is all a table. So if we think about what this table looks like, we're just basically doing, we're partitioning each day to each metal type, right? And event, right? So so this is index 1, index 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so that's what the index does. The size mark, or the size function, just what is the total number of rows within a partition, which is 5. So the first part of this, if the index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equals the total number, which is going to be this last one, then return the size, which is 5, right? The other way to do this, again, the another way is if last equals 0, then size. All right, that's another way to do it. Both will work. This is total by day. I'm going to go on my shape. I'm going to put it on my circle, actually. I'm going to put it on my circle, and I'm going to do label. And now you'd be like, well, it just says 1. Well, what's up? Well, we have to change the scope and direction, right? So I want, because right now it's only counting each individual one, right? It's only counting one unit. So what we need to do is do by day, right? Well, maybe not. Let's edit this calculation. Let's take a look at this calculated field. Okay, let's see. Is it because we're doing row count? Like, what if we just did... What if we do this? What if we... I'm just trying to think of another way to do this. Reference line per pane. And it'll be... Okay. Not gonna be that. But I've got... and it's doing it on both, and I don't want that. So I can't do that, but it's doing that. So what are we doing? We're doing a window average of count of daily medal winners That's what a reference line is. A reference line is just a window function So total count, that's what we'll do. Let's try this. And then change it to how about we just do okay, there we go. Alright. Interesting. Alright. I mean, that makes sense. Let me think about why that makes sense. I say it makes sense and be like, well, does it? I don't know. But I think it does, because all we're doing is we're just doing the overall total by the overall total of count of medal winners count, so the number of records, so the total number of records, and then we're doing it, and I can just do it, yeah, by paying down. So there's that, and let's bump this to 11 as well. Make it bold. Maybe let's format these again to maybe be a little lighter. There we go. There we go. Now, let's hide this. Let's hide this. Show. Single value drop down. Yep, don't want to do that, so we don't want the all. Oh, poor Albania. Oh, that's another thing should we consider. If I do Albania, do I just get 2? Yeah, so that's the other thing I got to figure out. So I've got to figure out how to keep. Okay, so how do we do that? So there's another little trick, right? Just when you think you're done. So I've got to figure out a way. How about attribute? There it is. Make it discrete. Nope. Oh, that's not what I want. Alright, so I had it, right? We had it there. But that puts that down there, and that's not what I want. Analysis, table layout, advanced. Nope. No, it can't be this. Okay, so it's not going to be that. So it's not an attribute. It is a dimension. So we've got to figure out a way to make sure that all of the days let's see. Okay. So day is continuous. Oh, it's an index. Interesting, okay. So day is okay. So continuous. Discrete. And this is event middle country, event middle country, ID. Okay. What am I missing? Hmm. Interesting. Okay, so we were so close. And then not. And then so far away. Okay, so let's look at this again. Metal Country event ID. I don't think the order is going to make sense. It's going to matter, that's what I meant to say. Country. Metal Country event ID. Metal Country event ID. There we go, yep. See, but I still get see I still get the when I go to Albania on hers, I get the same, right? So what am I missing here? It's got to be something on detail. Count of metals by country per day. For each country and day, count the number of records. Okay, so I did. So it is using size or list, or it is using index and size. Okay. If I'll do it this way. If last. Yep. So I have the right numbers. But I don't have them on the right place because Meadow Country event ID. Meadow Country event ID. At the deepest. None. Specific. Oh. Because I didn't sort these. Right? Manual. Gold, silver, bronze. Gold, silver, bronze. I know I can get rid of this. Meadow Country event ID. Meadow Country event ID. Okay. Well, now things are really wonky. What in the world? Well, that's fun. That wouldn't change anything. What I don't understand is why. Event middle country. Event middle country. Really? That matters? Oh, it was still trying to. Oh my gosh. Oh, Tableau. Some days. So, yes, what we started off talking about in the very beginning of the live stream, I forgot to do because we completely redid everything because we changed all the marks, right? We changed a lot of things. We changed what's on rows and columns. We changed discrete continuous. We did all that kind of stuff. That means that stacked marks, we had to do it. We had to reapply that. So that's why that was not working, because it was trying to squish everything in the right position. So what we had to do is we had to unstack. And now we have exactly what we need. So I was there again. All there. So now this becomes a shape. And we take event and we put it on that. And we drop metal that. And we drop that. And we make this synchronize, show, maybe drop the size of these shapes just a hair a bit more. There we go. We'll call that good. Now, excuse me. I think the other thing that she did is she turned these from decimal. So this is another quick little tip or trick if you're watching still, if you're still tuned in. You can see here that because we are on a continuous, we still get to see one preceding value and one succeeding value on our axis, right? So we still see the 0 and we still see the 17, and we don't want that, right? Because there is no day 0, there is no day 17. We don't want to see those at all. So what do we do to do around that? Well, what you might think about doing is filtering, right? But we can't filter anymore. So then what you might think is, okay, well, fine. If I can't filter, what if I just edit my axis range? And I do it from 1 to 16. Well, that puts half circles on the end, and that's not what we want either, is it? So the way to get around this is a little tricky. It's a little dirty. Tableau does us dirty in this, but let's change the data type of day from a whole number to a decimal number. Synchronize again. Look at that. Now, you tell me, why does that do that? I have no idea. But let's remove that. And we need to format this to be white. Nope, not. So what I'm doing here is I'm just changing, this. So I'm going to remove the axis title. But what this does is this changes, because whenever you format, you're formatting the pill, and if the pill is on on the sheet in multiple places, you're changing that. That's why whenever I change the formatting of this text to white, it also changed this, because they're the exact same field. So that's the way that Tableau does that. So I just did day plus 0, which is the same value, but it's a different field. So now I can format this back down to white, and now when I click off of it, you don't see the text. So there's some nice little tricks, some tips, formatting wise, which is pretty cool. But so there you have it. Oh, but I still don't have that working. Oh, but now what we can do is we can edit our custom axis range, and we can fix this to 0.5 on one side and 16.5 on the other side. And now you have everything that you want, right? So now you have and this is again where you're talking about continuous versus discrete. Continuous means there is no break in the, and that makes sense why this was not working in my original format and why this one is, because as a continuous field means you get to see the full number line, right? And because it's an axis, it's not a header, right? That's the difference between, when I mentioned that at the top of the live stream. This is the difference, biggest difference between discrete and continuous. Discrete will draw an axis, continuous will draw an axis, and discrete will draw headers. You do not have any liberties to do that in a. You don't have the liberty of doing anything, of creating headers out of nothing, but you can manipulate the number scale on a continuous axis, as you can see here, right? And that's pretty cool. So, now, last thing that we need to get rid of, and again, this is something that we only just got in the last couple of years, it feels like. You see this little stick pin that lets users know that this has been, this axis has been hard-coded. We got to figure out how to get rid of that. And I believe, we'll see if this works, but we need to go to worksheet and show sort controls. Nope, and that's not it. What? There's a way that you get rid of that. View toolbar. Show unever, hide. Nope, not that. Is there formatting here? I don't think so. How do we get rid of that? Oh, there's a way that we do that. Oh. No, because what if edit the let's show let's edit this axis to go from, oh no, that's not what we want. What if we clear the axis range and we edit this axis to not show us the title? Will that do it? I think that might do it. And if that's true, that is a really silly hack. 0.5 to 16.5. Yep. Look at that. So if you ever want to remove the stick pin of a fixed continuous axis, remove the axis title. Is that not one of the silliest things you've ever heard? like I said, some days, Tableau, some days. Okay, so there you have it. So there's how you do it, and then yeah, you would not want to do. So that's the other thing I was doing. You do not let's customize this filter and let's not show all. And now let's land on USA. There you go. There it is. And then you can do formatting and filtering, or formatting and tooltips and all that kind of stuff. But we're right at the back of the top of the hour. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We got through the bulk of the challenge. We had to peek behind the covers, and that's okay. I always make a big point. It is okay to peek at the answers, right? Because it's not. This is a challenge that we are doing on our own time, for free, and risk free, right? If we break it, or if we don't get the right answer, no one's gonna care, right? So peek behind the curtains for the sake of learning, and it'll all be okay. So that was a fun challenge, great challenge. That was sneaky, right? Like that's where like you might be thinking, man, it should not have been that hard, right? But that's the world we live in, and I think you'll find that with any BI tool, right? This is not a Tableau specific. This is not something unique to only Tableau. All of the BI tools are going to have those little hacks and things that you have to do. The great thing about Tableau is you will never find a better community at showing you what those hacks are to make your lives easier moving forward. So, and that's what we do here on Data to Dashboard on Workout Wednesday live streams like this. So, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I enjoy doing them. If you enjoy watching these, if you get something out of it, please like, subscribe, connect with me on LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I do this every week. It's a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Go forth and viz.